All right, Mark, part three here. It's been a long one. It was supposed to be an hour, but you're such a great interview. So, and unfortunately, got cut off right in the middle, but that's okay. So, we were talking about Jam Up. Great guy, great. I love the stuff, good quality stuff. But I think more important than good. Well, as important as good quality is the designs are cool, right? It's not full basic designs, right? So I'm happy that you signed up with Jam Up, Predator, CSI. I wanted to tell you a short story about CSI. When I owned my pool room, I wish you had been to it. It was a fun pool room. I originally brought in APA League, and we did well with that. And some of the players said, "We want to, we're not APA players. We want to play BCA." And I looked into it, and I added BCA, and it was a lot of fun. And I actually had more fun playing BCA League. I'm not knocking APA. APA is a good league, and it was fun. BCA is a good league. If there's a BCA league near you, I totally recommend it. I mean, a lot obviously has to do with some BCA leagues are better than others based on who's running it, but I think the rules are good. They're for the player. You have to remember it's still a business, right? And the business has to take some of the money, right? It's not a church, it's not non-profit. So there is a business aspect to it. They have great events all over the country, top notch. We talked about that. One of the things we talked about earlier in part one is that the amount of production that goes in, and I think a lot of pool players who maybe have never attended a professionally run event think, oh, you just need pool tables and a guy to run it, and that's it. And that's kind of what it is in a pool room. But when you add the TV aspect to it, there's so much, like you said, the rigging, the lights. You have a sound guy, you have a director, you have very expensive cameras. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it that people don't realize. I mean, it's you got to pay for you, got to pay for whoever's sitting next to you, and there's usually a team of you because the hours are long.
Don't forget also, Jay, you're basically building a pool room in an empty room. A temporary pool room. That's what you're building, and we all been in pool rooms, in these big pool rooms with. You imagine doing that with like 300 tables. Can you just even fathom what goes into that? Like the Vegas event is just absolutely mind blowing.
I know many of my followers have been to Super Billiards Expo. I know it's attended by 5,000 or 10,000 people, or Derby. They're in there a week early, a week before the event starts, to put in 200 tables, right? Level them, make sure the cloth is right, clean all the balls. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it, and then the vendors come in, and they need electric, and they need this, and they need Wi-Fi, and there's just a lot of stuff that goes into an event. It's I think sometimes pool players, not all, but some pool players don't think about the money that's involved, the money that has to be outlaid. You have marketing people, you have communications people, you have sports writers, you have the unfortunate side of pool is there's not a lot of outside money in pool yet. Well, we'll get there one day, right? But even though there's not that outside money, all that money still has to happen, right? So these pool brands that we support by buying their equipment or paying for their stream or whatever we're doing, right? As fans or pool players, that money has to go somewhere, right? So it's big business. It's going to be, and it gets better. And tournament directors and promoters are getting better at it, but
referees as well. And let's not forget as well that all the events that we do are all free to watch. There's no pay-per-view. Everything is absolutely free. And this production company I mentioned, Kazoom, I mean, in Puerto Rico, we had a team of, we had two 2 tables streamed, 6 matches a day, 5 or 6 matches a day, right? You need commentators in for both of those tables. They had every single outside table on the stream, you know, so that available to go and choose your thing. It was all free. Kazoo don't do it for free. They're obviously getting paid to do it, you know, so somebody's got to pay for that. And the Predator have to pay for that. The sponsors have to pay for it. There's no pay-per-view. But the reason we're doing it is because we want to take pool. We want people to stumble across it. We don't want people to have to go and buy pay-per-view. I'm not saying there isn't a place for pay-per-view. Yes, there is, but I think that should be on money matches only. I think everything else should be available to watch. If we're on about getting Paul into the mainstream TV, then Paul's got to do their own bit as well and give it live, you know, give it free to people to start with. It's no good trying to charge for something and attract new people, because you're not going to get new people going to pay for something that they don't know anything about.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing I wanted to say is these events might have 50, 60, 100 employees. I was at an event last year, and the promoter of the event told me he spent $12,000 for hotel rooms, for a staff. 12,000
and flights to get people to where they've got to be. You know, it's astronomical, the cost, and somebody has to pay for it.
Right.
No one gives it for free, right?
And all those employees aren't working for free, so you have to pay them too. You know, so there's employee costs. You know, and in many cases you feed them. You know, or some kind of food is involved in it, right? So I mean, just this one event I went to, amateur, $12,000 for hotel rooms. You know that. So, and then after you pay all those expenses, you have to have prize money. The players got to get paid when they win. So it's really so when I see somebody complaining about a 1995 pay-per-view, or why is this queue so expensive, or, you know, it's silly. It's for me, it's somebody being short-sighted. You got to put the money back in, right? And it's a business. Nobody's going to do it for free. They're not doing it for free, and it's a lot of work. But the productions keep getting better and better, so that's nice, right? I would love to see pool back on television like it was in the 70s and the 80s. I'm dating myself a little bit, and things like that. Some ESPN. I don't own a TV, but if pool was on TV, I would probably own a TV. Then you stayed at my house. You got to use your device if you want to watch TV. If you want to watch TV at my house, Mark. I want to tell you just briefly, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being my #1 guest returning for Level 2 Billiards 2.0 on the roundtable. There's nobody that I would rather have as being my #1 guest, my last guest on the retirement, and my #1 guest. You know, I am your biggest fan. I cheer you on. We talk sporadically sometimes, just because life is busy, and I know you're busy, and I don't want to bother you and things like that. But thank you so much for being my first guest, and my hat's off to you for being just blowing up on the pool scene in such a short amount of time. You're a great commentator. If you don't know Mark White, you should know Mark White. If you never watched a pool match, this guy's the best in the business. And he's doing what he loves, and I just want to thank you so much.
Well, and I want to thank you as well, because a lot of you guys won't know that this guy sat there helped me so much when I was trying to get going. He made this fantastic little compilation of my cock-ups, my bloopers, but some of my good bits as well. And he made a beautiful little segment that I put on the internet, and it went pretty viral on your page as well. And you know, you do your fair share towards making the game a better. You know, you cover the game very, very well. You've got great insight, and you're interested. And I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours. We normally do. So I want to thank you as well for all you've done for me, because you know, without people like you and Joey Ryan and Melina Mike and Mike DeMarco, people like that, and David Al-Qadi, actually, who believed in my commentating and gave me the chance, you know, and Ozzy Reynolds from CSI, who gave me my very first chance on the microphone when Jeremy Jones got COVID in Michigan, it was. So that was when I was given my first real chance, and I grabbed it with both hands, and it's what I've wanted to do. I've just realised today, actually, that this is my 7th decade involved in pool. I went back, I've just been writing a little bit of my life story, and it all started in 1969 when I got my first table at home. And this is now my 7th decade involved in Q Sports in one way or the other. So I believe that I'm here because I love it and it comes across. Thank you so much to everyone that sends me great messages on all my social medias. I know I go on a little bit sometimes, but I can't help it. So thank you to everyone that sends me all these lovely messages and emails and stuff. I really am so thankful for it. And I really do. It may sound a little bit corny, but I actually do it for those people out there, the fans that love the game as much as I do. And that's the truth. And I love it. And I love all of you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I cannot wait to get those headphones on and the microphone ready for Atlantic City, 19th of January, 2023. It's not that far away. I think it's actually 31 days today.
I just want to, thank you for the kind words. I want to say one thing, and we're going to wrap it up. So in our break, this is our 3rd segment. We had to chop it up. In our last break, which was a few minutes, in part 2, you mentioned Lena, the pool player, the junior pool player. In that break, coincidentally, I reached out to Lena, and she's going to join us for a future show. So we will have who you recommend us to keep our eyes on. I briefly spoke to her. She seems very nice, and so look for Lena to join us in the near future. Hopefully, we'll get her sooner than later. Mark, thank you so much. How about you come back for show number 50? So whenever that is, we'll get you back for show number 50, and maybe we'll do it in person. That would be great. Side by side, same sofa. I'll
tell you what, one more thing I want to mention. Let's make a date now that we will go to Derby City, not next year, but the year after, 2024. Okay, I will take my cues and I will go and play. That is my next big goal. I want to play in at least 1, 2, maybe 3 really big tournaments, just to say that I've done it. And I'm going to use my brand new tools to do it. Buddy there, Bart's going to watch this video, and we'll make Bart take us out to dinner. So Bart will be taking you and I out while we're there, and I'll see you in a few weeks. And I look forward to seeing Atlantic City. And thank you so much, Mark. So long as I don't have to eat Bart's pants or eat his shorts or whatever it is, I don't care. All right, mate. Thank you very much. All right. Good night. Thank you, buddy. Cheers, mate. Ta-da. Bye.